Hey everybody, this is Wes from the Console Gaming Crew podcast, and we want to proudly say that we are a part of the Boss Rush network at bossrush.net. BossRush.net is a place where you can find up-to-date news articles, blogs, and podcasts about video games. In addition to that, there is a growing collection of podcasts, not just in the gaming community, but other communities as well. We are honored to be a part of such a great network of podcasters and content creators. So please stop by and give everyone a listen at bossrush.net. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Yo, crew members, what it be?
Heyo.
Hi.
Yeah, that's not actually Anthony. I know he sounded just like him, but that's not actually Anthony. He unfortunately is at work, stuck at work on a Saturday, so dollar bill, y'all go make that paper. But in the meantime, Wesley and I, yes, I said Wesley.
I'm about to say, yeah, you throwing full name out, shit.
Yeah, I didn't go middle name. We all right. So we are going to we wanted to do this as the Three Musketeers, but you know, we can't wait. So we are going to give you our Mount Rushmore of video games. Doesn't have to be a whole series. It could be a single game in a series, but just whatever. And it's actually tough to do. Think of all the games we played, and we are narrowing it down to the 4 that we put on our Mount Rushmore. And
that is pretty fucking tough. You know what I mean? Like all in all, that is kind of a.
You know what? Actually, surprisingly for me, the first 3 were pretty easy. Figuring out the last one was tough because there were 3, no doubt. Can't fuck with them on my list. No problem. The last one, I had to kind of really dive back in and think what really means something to me and all that shit. So
yeah.
Without further ado, let's start with this first one, which is kind of unanimous. Wes and I talked about this before we even, and there's no order to this. There's no which one's more important than the other 4. There's no order to the real Mount Rushmore. Damn it. It's just, you know what I mean?
Just a bunch of old white guys up on a mountain.
That's basically it. So the first game on both of our Mount Rushmores, and I'm hopeful that this is the only one that we have in common, is a God dang. Who? First of all, I just want to know who cracks on the word "in." Like that's not a crackable word.
Oh shit! You ready? Oh, that was glorious.
Anyway, so the very first game on our Mount Rushmore, Super Mario Brothers 3. And I'm actually going to let Wes talk about it first because, in fairness, that is like the one game that has always popped up on previous episodes when we talk about either what got us into gaming and stuff like that. So I'm going to let him talk a little bit about it first. I probably won't have too much to say after that because I feel like I'm going to be echoing a lot of the same things. But
not yet. So I mean, like, it was one of those games that it was one of the first games that I sat down and played to where I was like, okay, I can fuck with this. Now, I did, once again, like everybody else does, I run through World 1 to get both flutes and then bust my ass to go ahead and put myself into World 9. You know what I mean? Just keep it fucking simple and just coast. But when you do decide to actually play the other worlds, you get the ice world, you get desert, you know what I mean? You get the Giganto world. Like, it's actually a lot of fun if you actually go ahead and run through the game and not just speed run it. I love... What is the shit that I love about that game?
What is there to not love about that game?
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's funny because, like, I mean, we talked about this episode for a while, and I'm trying to just recenter, you know what I mean? Like what I what I want to say about it. So how about you go ahead and throw a few things out?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that I put it on there it's for multiple reasons. One, it's one of the earliest like memories that I have of playing a video game. Do I know that it's the very first one I ever played? No, I do not, but it's the first one that I have a memory of playing. It's also the first game that I ever, back then, obviously, there were no trophies, there were no achievements, there were none of that, but that is kind of where it started for me because that's the very first game that I ever made sure that I found all the secrets. I made sure that I found the flutes, and then I made sure I went back and actually played all the levels. And another thing that I loved about it is it's also, I believe, the first game that I ever played with my sister. My sister and I used to play that game all the time, and she loves playing Super Nintendo. She loves playing.
Now here's my question for you:
the old Nintendo. Go ahead.
Who were you?
I don't remember when I was younger. If she was smart, she would have pulled the power move and have been Mario because she was the older. I mean, she's
I was
still
about
older,
to say,
but I could beat her up now though. So I get to be Mario
I don't
now.
know if you can, honestly. Yo,
I I mean, it'd be
she
tough.
will absolutely kick some ass.
She's probably an ankle biter. Um, but anyway, and we still like I loved it when she when her and Mike lived here a couple years ago. Her and I had a night where we played, and it's probably still a story that she loves telling to everybody because she was drinking whatever. I think she was drinking Bud Lights or some crap. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. She was drinking beer. I had taken a sleeping pill that makes me a little on the loopy side, and it took me forever to figure out what power up I wanted to use because I was like deep in this sleeping pill. So it took me forever to figure out what power up I wanted to use, and I landed on like the raccoon suit, and I just like I turned and I looked at her as I put it on, and I was just like, you know what, Jamie, I'm going in this bitch cute as hell. And she tells that story. She started laughing and didn't stop laughing for like 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I died like 2 minutes in because I was a little too washed out to finish that. But so yeah, so for multiple reasons. So for it being the first game that I remember playing, the first game that really got me good at platforming, because that those games are all
That what
platforming. So um,
World
you
1,
know,
Level 4.
and the first game that I've ever perfected, knowing a lot of it more so. I hope she listens to this episode because most of it is because of how much fun I had doing it with my sister. She taught me everything there was to know about that game. She taught me where all of the hidden shit was, all that stuff. So she taught me the ropes when it came to that game, and then like I perfected like knowing exactly when to use what power up. Like I knew you get that P-wing, you save that P-wing for the one floating ship level that goes really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just float up the top the whole time and then just bring yourself down at the end. so
Mm-hmm.
so there's just a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in that one, but most of it's wrapped around the experience that I had playing with my sister.
Nice. I mean, look, I also my older sister. I mean, she did pull the power card. She was Mario. I was Luigi, and I had no problem with that. But in order for me to get back at her with that, we would land on the same block. So then you had to.
Duel.
So yes, you had the duels with the big power block in the middle, and like like old school Donkey Kong looking
Mhm.
like level. And I enjoyed that because that was like one of the few chances I had to get back at her for her always being able to pick who she wants because she's the oldest. But yeah, man, Super Mario 3, it is a game that I still play to this day because of the Switch emulators, the NES and emulator that's on the Switch. I still every now and again I will go ahead and mess around with it, and I will jump in and I will see how far I go.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Yeah, so you want to go next or me? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll go next. Now this one will come to no surprise to anybody.
I guess I know where this is going.
You think you do, but you're actually wrong.
Oh wow. Fuck
Yeah,
me. Okay.
yeah. This is a game that got me into Bethesda
Oh
and
fuck.
learning about them and how they make games and their storylines. And it was a game that when I first played it, I couldn't get enough of it. And it was actually one of the first games that I played, beat, but still ran around after. And I am talking about Fallout 3.
So
Running
good.
the Waste in DC.
Also my first introduction to Bethesda as well.
I, didn't you I thought you were Elder Scrolls guy.
I don't well actually, believe it or not, I actually think
Was it
I played
Morrowind? Didn't
I never played Morrowind. Mike did. I played Oblivion, and I believe
Oh.
I played, and I also got to Oblivion late. So I do feel like I was playing Oblivion and Fallout 3 right around the same time.
So you were looking at the same characters no matter what.
Yeah, basically.
Dude, and that shit hasn't changed from Fallout 3 to now. They still look the goddamn same. When we see shit for Starfield, if we see shit for Starfield, with this next showcase, we'll probably see people looking like they did in Skyrim and fucking Oblivion. But yeah, man, Fallout 3, biggest thing about that game for me was just the way that the way you ran the game, like because you ran through all the stuff to get your special. You go ahead, you pick your attributes, And then you get out into the waste of DC, and one of the very first things, one of two things happens to you. Either you run into a mole rat, into which you go, holy shit, this thing is like fucking 4 feet tall on, you mean at the shoulders, what the hell? Or you see a rad scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
And then that really fucks your day up. Because I've had both of those happen. And it's just like, oh my God. Because, dude, when you walk out, you have like, what, a 10mm pistol with like 8 rounds, and that's it. You know what I mean? Dude, you don't got shit. So when you first make your way to Megaton and having to go ahead and run through all, dude, like it's just, and then making the choice of, do you want to blow it up? Because I love that choice. And
Yeah.
I've only taken the dire choice once. And that shit was fucking, I felt so bad after. So bad after. But yeah, Fallout 3 is absolutely on my Mount Rushmore.
Okay, so next up for me, and this is a big one, and it's actually going to come back full circle later, but the OG Pokemon Red and Blue. That
Your wife and I were actually just talking about this.
Were you really? There's
Yeah.
no way that wasn't going to be on my Mount Rushmore. Pokemon has literally, since Red and Blue, is the only game that I can think of that every time they come out with a new game, I never question whether or not it's going to be good. I never question whether or not I need to play it, ever. Like, from Red to the only time that comes is when you get to some of the, like, back in the day when you got to some of the ones where they were, how you had Red and Green, and then you had Fire Red and Leaf Green. I was like, I didn't feel like I needed to play those because they were essentially kind of the same game.
Yes.
Now it's different because they're remaking a lot of the ones from back in the day with like updated graphics, so that's a different story.
Shining Pearl and Sparkling Diamond, yeah.
But yeah, I remember sitting up and trading Pokemon with the link cable.
Yep.
That I remember doing that, and it was genius. It's the first game that I ever played, and you got to think of how young we probably were when we played it. Yeah, because I played it not long after it first came out, so I was pretty young, and that, like,
first came out in the U.S. in September of '98.
Yes, that's about right. So I was 10 years old. So I was playing that game as a 10-year-old, and just, I loved the exploration. It's also, we talk about it all the time. We talk about how kids today don't seem to be able to embrace the grind. That is the game for me that started the grind. I had no problem before that first gym training over and over and over in the wild patches of grass until every first Pokemon that I had was level 10 or 12 before I even got to that first gym.
Yeah.
Which made shit a little dicey because then sometimes a Pokemon wouldn't listen to me. But
yeah, you put yourself in a bad spot on that.
But they so it started the grind for me. It also started, it was my first real introduction into, like, real strategy, how you had to make sure you picked the right move for the right Pokemon and make sure you had the right Pokemon out for the right battle and shit like that. It wasn't just some
It was always making sure you had the right Pokemon first.
Yeah, exactly.
Beginning of the battle.
Yeah, and I love that, and it's literally only gotten better and better. And and every time I challenge that game and I challenge that company, every time I challenge Game Freak, they always prove me wrong, because by the time they got to like X and Y, and that was considerably long ago at this point. By the time they got to X and Y, I was saying, y'all are definitely going to be like, you're gonna run out of names for these games, and you're gonna run out of names for Pokemon and designs for Pokemon.
X and Y came out 2013.
2013, and here we are almost a decade later, and they have no signs of slowing down. No signs. Do they reach on some Pokemon? Sure. Some are dumb as fuck, but it is what it is, and nobody is going to disagree.
There's a guy on TikTok that I follow, and the only thing he does, he goes through the Pokedex, and he will just call them by like literally what they look like. So, you know what I mean? So like the Pokemon that's on the cover of Pokemon X, right? Even the deer with all the crazy antlers coming out and shit. Like, so he says here, it goes, with your powers combined, I am super gay deer. And and then the other one, which is like this big winged like creature, it's like all red and it's like this with wings out. And he says here and goes, my dick is this big. It's just it's just hilarious. I absolutely love it.
But yeah, so I couldn't, and like I said, here we are in 2022, and those games are still kicking, and they have another game coming out that I want. I believe it's the like you just said, the remake of
Well,
I know the one
Diamond and Pearl already came out.
Are you
Those
sure?
remakes already came out. Yeah, because they came out around the time of Arceus, I believe.
Are you sure? Because I was just on the and it was trying to get me to pre-order something. I thought maybe I might be tripping.
Pearl.
I might be tripping.
Shining Pearl came out November of last year, 2021.
Really? I wonder if there's another game I'm thinking of.
No, Shining Pearl and Diamond, and something Diamond, Brilliant Diamond. Now, Arceus is the one that just, I mean, that's the most recent game, which I know you haven't messed with yet.
Isn't it Arceus?
Arceus. I've heard it both ways.
Pokemon Arcanine.
There you go, third way.
Yeah, right. Arcanine would get fucked up by Arceus, but anyway. Last thing before I let you move on to your next one is it's also the how genius it was that like if you wanted to have a complete Pokedex, you had to find some friends because
yep.
you had to trade some Pokemon, you had to trade them back. So it was just genius all around, and it was unlike anything else that was out at the time.
Now I will say one of the things I thought that Game Freak did that was brilliant was in Arceus, whatever you want to call it. In order to get a Graveler to turn into a Golem, you would have to use this this artifact. And the greatest thing is that when like in the old days, when you had the chat link, the only way you could get a Golem is if you traded it with somebody and then got it back.
Yeah, it's same. It was the
exactly
OG4.
what you're talking about. Yeah,
you had to do it with Golem. I think
there is
Golem,
no trading.
Machamp.
There is no trading in Arceus. So what they did was that they gave you you had to find an artifact that looks like the chat cable.
That's hilarious.
So and that's how you go ahead and evolve certain Pokemon like Kadabra into Alakazam and Graveler into
Machoke into Machamp
into Golem, yeah, and Machoke into Machamp, yeah.
Fuck,
so
wait, who's the fourth one? There was 4.
Were there
Gengar?
4?
Gengar? Haunter to Gengar, I believe. You had to trade as well.
Yes. Into which Gengar is fucking beast.
That was the OG 4, and then as you get like further deep into it, I think like you trade Onyx with a metal coat to get Steelix.
Yes. And you have to do the same thing to get with somebody to get Heracross, and then the other one to get Skeezor.
To slow bro to slow king, I think you have to trade with like King's Rock or something like that.
Something, yes, some stuff like that.
So, but it's just absolutely fucking genius. And those games are so easy to just pick up and play for hours and like just relax. Like they're not stressful.
No, not at all. And I'm actually going to keep in the same boat because my next one that I'm going to talk about is also a Pokemon game, but a little later than what you got. And it is Pokemon Yellow.
Not much later. Still part of the first gen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
I'm assuming what drew you to that was Pikachu?
Well, yeah. And not only Pikachu, Fat Pikachu.
Yeah, Fat Pikachu.
Yeah, because this is Chunk. Yeah, I mean, he's Chunk.
It's Chunk.
So, so that one came out in September of 90. Wait a minute. When did I say?
Didn't Red, Blue, and Yellow all come out together?
I think they might have.
Yeah,
I think
Red, Blue,
right.
and Yellow, and Green. If you're in Japan, I believe Japan had Green.
Yeah. Into which later on we got a Leaf Green.
I still
that
wondered
was,
why
that was
the
one that we got.
I still wondered why we never got Green.
Because
like why Red and Blue was okay for us, but not Green.
And
Yellow as well. It's just very confusing.
I don't know. So yeah, you start off with Pikachu on this one, and one of the biggest things I remember is that number one, this is my first actual Pokemon game, not a burned copy that I played on my computer. Because that's how I played the other ones before. You know what I mean? Because back in my day, you go ahead and have somebody burn the game onto a floppy. No, dude, burn onto a floppy disk. Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, before the emulators. And you would go ahead and throw it on a 3.5-inch floppy. Which
I mean, that's what I'm rocking, honestly. But
it ain't about when it's floppy though, man. That's the thing. You gotta remember that.
Yeah, that gets bigger. But
it ain't about when it's floppy. Okay, that's the name of the episode.
It's It's funny that you were doing the illegal shit before the illegal shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's incredible. That's incredible.
But yeah, so not only did I play that game, I also played that game on the yellow Pokemon Yellow Game Boy.
Oh, so you just had the whole experience.
Yes.
You had everything. You
And
had
then
the
I
yellow.
actually gave it all to my godson when he came of age for me to think that it was proper for him to play. And I love that.
Just thinking back to those handhelds, be it the original Game Boy, the Color, the Advance. I had the Advance SP. That was one of my favorites. But then also thinking the things that we went through and the things that came with them to be able to play whenever, like that stupid little light that clicked on, that
The
you could clip on the
magnifying.
top. Or the magnifying to make the screen bigger that had the light
Yes.
on it. So like you could play in a car at night, or for me when I wasn't supposed to be playing anymore at night, I'd go underneath my blanket and I'd be playing.
Which is what everybody did. Everybody
turn the
made a
volume all the way
fort,
down.
you know what I mean,
Yep.
under their blanket to go ahead and
Yep.
play the fucking game.
Yep, turn your volume all the way down, and you know what I mean? And you know, there's actually, and maybe someone can give us the answer because I've literally never Googled it. There has been something I've been wondering since the very first Pokemon that I never knew if it was a myth or if it was real. And it had to do with rare candies, because remember how you could, I mean, in any game
Rare
you can
candy
now,
would bring them up one level.
rare candy would bring them up one level.
Yes.
But there was this myth, I don't know if it's a myth, it could be real, that when you give rare candies, you know how they go up a level, but they also get the individual stats in attack, defense, all that? Apparently, they would get less in those stats from a rare candy than if you actually leveled them up battling.
I wonder how it would work now, because now you have rare candies in...
It's different because they have the extra
small,
small
medium,
small,
large,
and
extra large, yeah.
I wonder. So I don't know if that's something that was ever real and they phased it out or what. Because back in the day, you could do that missing no cheat and rack up unlimited rare candies, which who the fuck didn't do that back in the day at some point?
And you just got boss status on everybody. So like, yeah, so but I think for our generation, you know what I mean, for people born in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, back in the 1900s, I feel like if Pokemon isn't really part of your basically top 10, I'm not even going to go Mount Rushmore, just top 10.
Bro, top
then
10's even stretching, bro. I feel
Well,
like if
no,
it's outside the top 5, my dude, that's tough.
I'm gonna go top 10 just because, you know what I mean, there are other games that people consider very much pivotal, like Final Fantasy,
Top 10 is
and
100%
you know what I mean, and like
playing
Gran Turismo games, and like Metal Gear Solid. Like, dude, there are so many different games that
Yeah.
were like, you mean, dude, just
Yeah.
world breakers that, look, it might take a minute to go ahead and get yourself to a Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow or whatever.
And dude, another crazy thing about them, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, still super easily playable today. I can
Yes.
easily play that game and not be mad at what I'm doing.
Yes. And the best part is that if you want to see what it's like to play one of those games, but play it now with current graphics and everything, go buy Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah, it's essentially what it is.
You have two versions, Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. So if you go Let's Go Pikachu, you have Pikachu. If you go Let's Go Eevee, you have Eevee. Look, man, that part's obvious, but look, sometimes I need to explain things. Shut up.
Thank you,
But-
Captain Obvious.
I'm sorry. Well, no, yeah. So Pokemon Yellow, 100% is within my Mount Rushmore.
All right, so next one for me, and I actually do believe you reminded me because it's on my fucking list. So
This is your last one.
obviously, it's what? No,
This is your
there's
last
4
one.
There's 4.
Yeah, Super Mario 3.
Pokemon Red and Blue.
Balls. Okay, good.
Yeah, it's all right. I can count still.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
I'm Jewish and I work in an accountant's office. If I couldn't add, or if I didn't know numbers, I'd be pretty fucked. I'm allowed to say that, by the way, people. I'm Jewish. What the hell was I going to say?
You're about to get into your next one. Mount Rushmore. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. And it is the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
I'm not surprised in the slightest on this one.
No, you shouldn't. It's the game still to this day that I have the most hours racked up on. I have
Don't you have over 300? Over 400.
Over 400 hours.
Ooh, damn.
That game I took to an extreme when it comes to and back then for me it wasn't even about I don't even remember if they had achievements yet. They may have. They probably did. But
That's actually a really good question.
It wasn't even an achievement thing for me. It was I want to unlock every single place on this fucking map.
Yeah.
And I did. And I even went down to, because I had the strategy guide, which I gave to you, and you immediately spilled coffee all over.
Completely forgot about that, by the way.
That was hilarious. I was like, damn, dude, this is why I can't have nice things. But
because of your friends, yeah.
So I had the strategy guide. And once I was done the game, I went back to the map, and they even had it broken down to miscellaneous chests that you can find all over the place that have nothing to do with any of the quests at all. I even went back and made sure I found all of them motherfuckers. That was my first introduction into RPGs. It's the first RPG I ever played. And I only played it because Mike, my cousin, was raving about Morrowind. And I was like, I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I had never played anything that wasn't just a straightforward story game. I never had to worry about putting up stats or picking this or that. So that was literally my first experience. And fucking fantastic. It was
Just
unreal.
opened you up, man.
It opened. I think about it. It opened me up to what is now my favorite genre of video games.
True.
So I mean, horror, like survival horror, is a close second, but it is second. But RPGs are absolutely my favorite. And that game, the fantastic game, fantastic story, super expansive. So that's when I first, because life was a little bit different then than it is now, where, you know what I mean?
You didn't care about a woman in your life.
No. I don't mean that.
He said, I spent all my time on playing that game.
Well, no. I mean, yes, but no. Financially, if you were going to buy a $60 game back in the day, make sure it's something you can get some use out of. Today, I could buy a $60 game that's got a 4-hour campaign, and it's not really going to affect me as much as it would have back then. So to pay $60 and get a game that I can play 400 hours in and never do the same thing twice, is crazy. That also had one of my favorite stories. Did I tell you about the shit that Mike did with the one lady there? I may have told the story on this podcast before, but
please retell it if you have.
It got crazy, and I don't think he expected. This was people's introduction into why you don't want to get into a prank war with me, because I will take it to a point where you're gonna wish you didn't start the prank war. So there was this place, and I hate that I said this game is so old, and I still remember this bitch's name just because of Mike. I had been playing this game for probably 4 or 5 hours, and I was damn near in God mode, so I really didn't have to save much at that point, outside of not wanting to lose what I did. So I was playing the game for 4 or 5 hours. Hadn't saved. I was sitting there as me, my buddy AJ. You remember AJ? He was just sitting there watching me play. Mike was at work. He comes home from work, and he comes in. He's watching me play, and he knows that game, and he's like, I'm at this place called Fire and Steel. It was the place in the Imperial City that sold the best weapons. And the
I remember this now.
Ran the store. Yeah, her name was Rashida. And Mike's like, yo, can I see the controller real quick? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't think anything of it. He went in the store and just cracked Rashida with the sword that I had. And the way that game worked, if you ever hit someone that operated one of these stores, even if you left the store, all of the guards would come after you, and shit just don't stop. And once these motherfuckers are dead, they are dead. So he killed Rashida, so I could never shop there again. She was gone. And I hadn't saved in 5 or 6 hours, so I just had to eat. I was like, I'm not about to do this whole 5 hours again. So when he left for work or to go do something, when he left that night to go hang out with somebody, I took his bed, I took his mattress, and I put it on the roof. I put his box spring in the shower. And then I made up. I put his blanket in the spot where his bed was, as if his bed was made. I put his blanket there. I put his pillow there. It gets way worse. This is where we start to get into attempted murder. But I put his pillow there, under his pillow, and I did this because whenever Mike would come home from work, the first thing he would do would be to run and baseball slide into his bed. So, we had carpet, so I knew he'd still do it on the floor. So I had I put his I put his blanket there, made it all nice. I put his pillow there. I put a brick under his pillow. So that way when he would go and slide on his bed, he would at the very least like punch a brick and be like super angry. But like I wanted to make sure that you'll never do some shit like this to me again. But that whole thing happened because I did put a like a fine hotel. I did put a piece of chocolate on his pillow. I don't think he was thrilled about the chocolate after the brick, but I mean that's his problem, I guess.
At one point, it was, yes.
So that whole story is
is
all because of Oblivion. All because of Oblivion. But so that is my third. My last one isn't going to surprise anybody when we get there, but you go ahead. Just like yours isn't going to either.
No, yeah, my last one is the game that I think has the best villain of all time. And you can't really blame him for the shit that he did. Kind of. So I'm talking about Borderlands 2. Easily, to me, having the best 4 protagonists in a game, period. Maya is, oh my God.
Fantastic.
Like, dude, I still need to get my Maya tattoo. I'll put it that way. I mean, you had Salvador, which was an absolute beast of a fucking dude. You know what I mean? The fucking gunzerker. You had Axton, and then Zero. Like dealing with Handsome Jack, and then dealing with the monster down in the middle of the, I mean in the middle of the planet and shit. Yeah, man. Like, and not to mention, dude, like DLCs on that particular game, the DLCs were absolutely incredible. You had the pirate DLC with Captain Scarlet, obviously Bunkers and Badasses. You had that DLC, which you had to deal with a lot because it was post Roland. Dealing with all that shit with him dying, and Tiny Tina having to deal with it. Bringing in Tiny Tina for the first time. So yeah, man, it is one of them things, dude. I like it. It is, like, to me, probably the best game that I've ever played of all time. So yeah. So let's hear about yours, Mr. Zelda, Mr. Link.
Also the what I believe is the best game I've ever played, which is Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time on Nintendo 64. Or, I mean, I played it on a gajillion different things. They've remade it on the, I think I played it on the 3DS. That was fantastic when they redid that. I think they've remade it a couple times since then.
Do you think they're ever going to remake it for the Switch?
I don't know. I hope so. I was
because I know there's an emulator for it. You mean in the NES?
Oh, it is in the emulator.
Yeah,
but I think it's the OG. So I don't think I doubt they'll ever get like a polished new version, but that's good enough. Like the OG is perfectly fine for people to play, and it's one of those things where it's like super hard to even explain it to someone if they haven't played it. Like I don't even know how to explain to people that they should play it, except for to just take my word for it and you'll understand afterwards. It's like all the people that told me that like I'll understand like that feeling when you have a kid that no one can explain. Mm-hmm. And now I understand it, and also understand now that I wouldn't be able to communicate that to somebody else. I would have to give them the same advice, like you'll understand when your kid's here.
Just wait.
Yeah, it's the same thing with that game. Like the story is fucking phenomenal. I guess you could say it's like open world without being open world. Like it's technically open world. I think there are some things you can do out of order should you like to. But
because I will tell you that is a game that I've never touched.
I'm telling you, dude, you would not be upset. You would not be upset. It's Zelda in general. That was my dad is the one who originally got me into video games, and Zelda was his favorite. Like I've seen pictures of me literally fucking knee high to a pig's eye where I'm sitting next to my dad as he's playing on that big ass pad with the joystick, and he's playing the original Zelda. And like I've gone back because I still have Super Nintendo, the old Nintendo. I have my 64, and every Zelda game I've gone into, I can still see my dad's saves files in there. His save file is still in the one for Super Nintendo.
That's wild.
For the old Nintendo. It's still in the one for N64. because it was just him and I that ever played. So there's usually 3 spots. We never needed the third one. He had his, I had mine. So
that is really, really cool, though.
yeah, it's definitely dope. So, I picked that game up instantly and couldn't put it down. It's yeah. So that's 100% on my Mount Rushmore. Now, are there other Zelda games I could have potentially put on there? I do really like the one for Super Nintendo, but that one for 64 is just unreal. It was just unreal how good that was. But that is my That is my Rushmore.
All right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to hold off on news, mainly because by the time you hear this, the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase has already happened and wrapped up. So we will give you everything we're thinking about from the IGN summer showcases, as well as the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase next week. That will be our episode we're going to give you guys. So right now, we will hear me be all echoey and then tell you what we are playing. So, now it is time to go ahead and let all the crew members at home and the ones abroad, we're going to tell you what we are playing. So, I got an interesting text from you this week.
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't expecting it.
Probably a little curveball, huh?
Yeah, man. You sent me a text. You're talking about Pokemon Sword. Now, I'm pretty sure I have Shield. And, I mean, we set it up like this way all the time. So that way, you can trade with me, I can trade with you. Everybody can get all the Pokemon. I mean, if they're being a perfectionist like you normally are.
Yeah, I might need your help at some point.
And whenever you do, I will update the game and run to it.
Appreciate you. So, yeah. So, I finally, the missing the missing piece to the man cave downstairs was the Switch. The Switch had been up in the living room, and I've been saying, like, I gotta bring my Switch back down. Like, I gotta bring it downstairs so I can have that as a third option. So I finally brought it down the other day, and I was looking through, and I was like, what can I play? And I was like, do I want to play RCS? Sure, but I hate when there's a game that I love playing that I didn't finish. So I was like,
okay,
I gotta finish Pokemon Sword. Not a game that you can just pick up and play after about a year and a half of not playing.
No, not
You
at
have
all.
no clue where the hell you were.
Not
especially if you're someone like me that wants to know what exactly you were doing and what you were trying to catch. So I was like, I'll spend way too much time trying to figure this out. So I just deleted my save file and started over.
Oh, you just straight up started fresh.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, nice.
So I wasn't ridiculously far anyway. I think I was only a couple gyms in anyway.
The weirdest thing about that game is that you're like the guy you're always trying to be like has a fucking Charizard. Like, that is the oddest thing about the game. You know what I mean? He's running with a Gen 1 fucking powerhouse.
I think that's just slamming your nuts on the table and being like,
still just
okay.
as Diesel.
Yeah. Like, remember this motherfucker who was on who was literally on the cover of the very first game we ever made? Well,
so when you get to the point that you start hitting like level 5 like wild Pokemon things, you mean like when you go to like the storms and stuff like that, when you start hitting that shit, let me know, because then I'll jump in with you.
The storm, like in the wild area?
Yes.
Oh, I'm there.
What level? Yeah, but what level are your Pokemon?
I'm in the middle of trying just to evolve shit just to get in my Pokedex right now. I think I started with Grookey. I think he's now, I forget what his fucking second is. What his second evolution is.
Okay, yeah, dude. Like, cause I'm like level anywhere between level 70 and 80 on like all.
Oh no, my. For fuck's sake.
I forget, but I chose Grookey as well.
Either way, he's like a level 19. I think.
Yeah.
And he's my highest. I did download Pokemon Home first and went in and saved my game and moved over some Pokemon that I had from my initial save file.
Okay. Smart.
But just as in case shitsies. But I'm loving the game just like I did the first time, just running surprise trades all the way through. I'm going to the first city that you go to once you reach the wild area. I think it's like Moto Stoke or something like that.
That was the one game I never paid attention to the cities. I never paid attention to what they were called.
I'm heading to the first one.
Just because I paid more attention to just being in the wild area.
Yeah,
that was much more fun.
I've been in the wild area for hours at this point, running into like random people in there, grabbing the shit that they have off them, and I did some of the Dynamax battles with some people.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, I'm having massive amounts of fun with that game. Like I said, it's becoming a little bit easier now to find pockets of time to play. Now that things with my son are way more routine. So it's like, you know, for the first 6 or 7 months, even if Alex was asleep and it was only 9 o'clock, and I don't generally crash out until like 11:30. It's like, if I play this game, chances are he's gonna be up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm gonna have to. One of us is gonna have to deal with that. So I didn't even want to fuck with that. But now that now the Papa's got some time, he's sleeping through the night.
Get back in it,
and he takes like predictable naps. Now Papa can get in and get his hands dirty a little bit.
See, so it's nice because you're picking the perfect time. So you're going to run through Sword, and then you're going to get into Arceus, and then most likely by the time you're close to being done Arceus, Scarlet and Violet should be coming out.
That's what I was thinking of when I said that they have new games coming and they were having the pre-order thing on the Switch.
Dude, not to mention, like, these two, like, it's basically going to be a combination of Sword and Shield and Arceus when it comes down to dealing with like the characters and the open worldness of it and everything like that. And because the way Arceus is with the open world, it's like 4 or 5 levels better than what the wild areas are in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, having tons of fun. It's super relaxing. And, it's a game that I'll like as I play. I have my cell phone open because I have an app on my phone to where I can track what I've caught and stuff like that.
Smart.
And and it like there's a lot of things that I forget because one, I haven't played this particular Pokemon game in a year and a half, which really means I haven't played any Pokemon game in like a year and a half. So there's some evolutions of like the newer Pokemon that I don't necessarily know yet, and even some of the old ones that I may be a little fuzzy on. So I have an app because like if I catch a Pokemon and I want to know how many evolutions it has if I need to catch another one, because there's things like like Tyrogue. You want to catch 3 of them motherfuckers if you want Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmontop, because you need to.
Yeah, but you probably need to catch a lot more than just 3.
This time I got lucky. I had to catch 4. That was it. I caught 4, and I got exactly what I needed.
That is insanely impressive.
Tremendous, because since that's been a thing, I've never been like less than 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So I got very, very lucky with that. I checked the first 4, and I was like, how is this possible?
Wow.
The one I'm usually always late on is the one I think that goes to Hitmontop, which is it needs attack and defense to be equal. That's the one that I always had trouble finding. I got that motherfucker with like the second one I caught. So that was what did fuck me up though, is that like it's weird the way I play these games. Like I like to try to catch things as early as I can get them, so that way I don't have to spend time later in the game and can just go through it. So let's say the first route you get, so Route 1, let's say, because this is the case, let's say there's a Hoot that you can find in a random encounter, but it's only got a 5% rate of showing up. Even though 3 routes down the road, or when I get to the wild area, there's Hoots fucking everywhere, I will stay in Route 1 until I get that Hoot. Because it's the first place I can find it, I want it, and I don't want to worry about it later.
That is absolutely hilarious.
I spent an hour looking for, and sometimes it's weird because, like I said, that had a 5% rate, and then there was, I think the Galarian Zigzagoon, which is an overworld encounter you can find, only had a 2% rate, and that motherfucker popped up the second I walked through. So, like, sometimes you get lucky, but it took me an hour to find the damn Hoot, but
But you got that Zigzagoon in a fucking heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. But yeah, that's what I'm playing right now. I'm absolutely fucking loving it, and I don't plan on stopping until I beat the game.
Fuck you.
And beating the damn thing to me means I have everything I'm up against.
All right. I'm gonna help you where I can. Guaranteed.
Appreciate it. I need a low tag. That's what I know I need first.
Low tag? I got you.
That's a shield exclusive, so.
Got it. I got you. All right. So for me, let's see here. Playing more of the new Mario Party Superstars with my wife. That's been fun. We actually did go back in the other Mario Party game to try to unlock the 4 characters that we haven't been able to unlock yet, because you have like Bones, you have like 3 other ones that that you can actually, and like one of them is Donkey Kong. I think one of them Diddy as well. So we're working on that throughout the week. We did a little bit of a delayed, but we did our Friday stream was actually would have been the Monday stream. So Mike, Hob, Dan, and myself, we went through some Deep Rock Galactic. It was actually a really good time. Ran for like 2+ hours actually last night, so it's actually really, really fun. We beat the main mission in the game. So, so now we're kind of like running through like basically harder level stuff just to go ahead and just try to just get better gear and try to like continue to level up our characters.
For sure.
Let me think. What else? Haven't really played anything else. I haven't jumped into Horizon Forbidden West with like the hard mode yet. I am planning on it. I just haven't done it yet. But nah, man. Other than that, it's basically all it has been.
Hey, it is what it is.
Hell yeah. So now it is time for me to tell you how you can connect with CGC. You can go to our website. Huh?
To tell the people.
I am. You can go to our website, which is consolegamingcrew.com, or our email, which is consolegamingcrew@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @consolecrew, and that is the easiest place for you to get a hold of us. Our YouTube and Instagram are both Console Gaming Crew. As you heard in the beginning of the episode, we did get a change of what the website is. So it is bossrush.net. That is where you can find Boss Rush Network to get anything and everything gaming related, or just basically nerd culture related, man. It's fucking awesome. They are a great network. We love those guys. I was actually on the Power Block Nintendo podcast that they have with Eddie and LaRon and Corey. And yo, it was so much fun. Those guys are so great. We also have our Twitch, which is CGC Podcast. We have my co-op Monday nights, myself, my boy Mike from the Twisted Cape Podcast, Hav and Dan. We all run some 4-player games, and we are actually going to be getting into Fall Guys really, really soon. And we're also going to be getting into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, because there is a 6-person co-op in that game. And you can be Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo, or April O'Neil, or Splinter, or Casey Jones. Yes.
Good old hockey player. You know who I'd be.
Yeah, so that's going to be coming soon. So I guarantee you we're going to have some of those nights. And I have until dawn. We will start getting back into the Freaky Fridays. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But until we're there, we do have our Fun Fridays, which are normally our Chell nights. Or if it's not Chell, then, you know me, I figure out something. Bottom line, we give it to you. Also, by the time this airs, everybody will have the opportunity to go to our TeePublic and get our Pride shirts. Anything Pride related, we got you. So I had my amazing aunt, Barbara McClay, go ahead and hook us up with some Prided out logos. So, and it's with not only our OG logo, but it's also just the logo itself and the headphones logo. So all of that, it's the first 3 days that it's out, it will be on sale. Just telling everybody right now. And yeah, so that's going to be in the show notes as well. You know what I mean, where you can find the sale for all the stuff. So yeah, man.
Solid epi, brother.
What we do. All
Yes,
day,
sir.
every day. That's how we do.
All right.
Like I said, next week, when you guys hear us, we will be talking about not only the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase, but we also will be talking about everything else that's coming from the IGN summer showcases and everything else, because summertime is the time for us to learn all the new shit that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So until next time, I ask, I beg, I plead, Stay safe. Wash your hands. Mask up. Do what you need to do to feel safe. And as always, game on, y'all. Love you.